All right, this is minimum focus on the 50 to 100, focusing right here. So you can see it's about 2 feet and some change. Now this is the minimum focus distance on the 28 to 55 at 55 millimeters, which is pretty good considering it's an anamorphic lens. And then this is the new 60 millimeter macro, actually to take the matte box off because I couldn't get close enough with the matte box on. This is how close the lens is to the branch. That's insane. See, anamorphic lenses aren't necessarily known for having really close focusing distance. There's a lot of physics and math going on that I'm not gonna pretend to even know, so I'm not gonna try to explain that here. But to get any kind of good close focusing distance on an anamorphic lens, typically in the past, you would need to use diopters, which are kind of like magnifying glasses that you would put in front of the lens, and that helps you achieve a close focus distance, which is nice. And honestly, even some lenses, you're still not getting really like macro focus just because of the nature of anamorphic lenses. Problem is though, a lot of times with anamorphic lenses using a diopter, you're not able to rack to infinity. You're not able to get infinity focus, so you gotta take the diopter out if you wanna get to infinity focus. But this lens, I'm at macro mode now, but I can actually just rack to infinity focus, no problem, without having to remove any diopters or anything, because you don't need a diopter with this lens because it's a macro lens. I think this is the world's first anamorphic macro lens. Laowa is kind of known in the industry to make interesting lenses. They have the probe lens and the really wide, like zero distortion lenses like the 10 mil. They kind of pushed the envelope on interesting lenses. They came out with the nanomorph lenses. This is the 50 millimeter nanomorph prime, and this is the PL version, so it's even larger than the mirrorless versions. And these lenses are awesome. These are Super 35, 1.5x squeeze lenses, and now with this new 60 millimeter macro, still 1.5 times anamorphic, designed for Super 35 millimeter sensors. Ironically enough, I'm filming some of this on the Pixis, but it's got 6K resolution, can punch into 4K no problem without any loss of resolution on a 4K timeline. Now, being part of the nanomorph line, you can see that there's a pretty big difference between the 60 mil and the 50 mil in regards to size and obviously in weight as well. I don't have the 80 mil or 85, is either 80 or 85 mil on hand to compare to, but in the PL mount, this is what this is. I think is probably pretty close to the 80 mil. The 80 mil might be a little bit shorter, but still fairly compact given that this is a macro anamorphic lens. Now also for comparison, I have the 50 to 100 and this is the 60 mil right here. So you can kind of get an idea of the size difference between these two lenses. And it'd be the same for the 28 to 55 since they're the same size. And for reference, the nanomorph zooms are the same size, almost roughly, if not exactly the same size as the Laowa full frame Ranger zoom lenses. So to kind of give you a little bit of context on the size there. All right, now I've been filming on the 28 to 55 on the Pixis for this little segment right here. Now what I want to do is just kind of cycle through these different lenses to see how well they match up in a daylight exterior environment. So no artificial lighting or anything, just this with this little color checker and some skin tones so you can get an idea of how well they match. All right, do a quick little focus rack. This is just insane. And this is like what's really cool about this lens is, you know, in the background, you still get, you know, that cool oval bokeh. So you'll have a consistent look with your macro shots if you are using these in conjunction with, say, the other nanomorph primes or the nanomorph zooms. Look how close that is. That's insane. And remember, this is an anamorphic lens. So anamorphic lenses are not known to have such close focusing distances, and the fact that Laowa was able to pull off a macro lens is just insane. Now the Nanomorphs come in 3 different flares, so you can get a silver, blue, or amber, and my personal preference is the silver first, and then the amber, and then the blue. That is just personal preference, just totally depends on the look you're going for, but I quite like the silver flare over the amber flare, and just because it kind of takes on the color of the light source. And I feel like the silver flare is a little less aggressive than the amber flare, but you can see here, it's nice looking little flares that you got, and like just on top of the anamorphic characteristic is just absolutely insane. I think it looks really nice, really pretty. Even at macro, it has some really interesting flaring characteristics. All right, I am going to wrap up this super casual first look of this lens. It was so nice outside. I just didn't want to do this, film this inside. So that's what you're getting. If you're still here, then obviously this has been somewhat entertaining to you. If not, hopefully helpful. Now, this lens is a huge achievement, and I think Laowa should be really proud of this. I mean, Laowa's known for, like I said, making those kind of wild and different lenses, and usually like the world's first for like anything, the probe lenses and the crazy wide angle lenses they have. And now I'm almost certain this is the world's first anamorphic macro lens, which is so cool, just to get more creative possibilities in an anamorphic look. And this isn't just like getting the flares and stuff, but the oval bokeh, the funky breathing, and the similar characteristics and consistency in look to the other nanomorph lenses that you might have in your kit. That's really cool that you can get that. It's just like the other nanomorph lenses, super well built, competitively priced, T29 aperture, and this looks good as just like a standalone 60mm lens. So if you're building out a prime lens set, honestly, I might skip the 50 and maybe start with the 35 and the 60, or maybe the 27 and the 60. Now, granted, this is a little bit bigger and heavier of a lens, so, you know, mounting it to a gimbal and all that and balancing and stuff is gonna definitely take a little bit more work than with the 27 or 35mm nanomorph primes. But this is just a really cool lens, and I sadly have to send this back, but I'm really considering actually going out and just purchasing one of these and just adding it into my kit, because it actually fills a gap in the nanomorph lineup, not from a focal length perspective, but the fact that it is a macro lens. Super cool. Anyways, I hope you found this helpful or useful. I wish I had more time and projects to put this on, but I am just super busy with my actual job doing freelance. So until YouTube pays the bills, this is just what I'm able to put out there on the internet. So if you found this helpful, useful, definitely leave a comment down below, subscribe, and whatever else I'm supposed to mention for this platform. I've been super inconsistent with YouTube lately, and it definitely shows, but I can't make this a priority until it pays me full time, and I doubt that'll ever happen. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks, Laowa, for sending this out. And yeah, I'll leave links in the description where you can go ahead and find this lens. Peace.